welcome to Digging in the Trenches on the Finstock Sports Network. I'm Bobby Melendez. That's JPF Scout Justin. And just right there, the man of honor, the guest of honor, Dolphins great, Richmond Webb. Richmond, how you doing, brother?
Bobby, JP, how y'all doing? I'm doing good.
Good, man.
Doing great. Honor to have you on. 7-time Pro Bowlers. We were just discussing Justin a little while ago. 90s All-Pro team. Dolphins honor roll. I just want to start off with this. You with all those accolades, you've done a lot of these. I've seen you on a lot of shows. You take time, and you're very gracious with your time. Fish Tank Hank on Fitz Talk today a little earlier was talking about some time with you, and you signed the jersey for him twice, and you've gone your way and done all that for the fans. Why, Mike? Why to give so much time? Why is it important to you to come on shows like this, talk with your wealth of knowledge, to come on to spend time with fans?
Well, you never forget where you came from. And before I started playing football, I was a fan as well. I was fortunate to do something that, I loved growing up as a kid. So I know how much it means to me. And now that I'm not a player anymore, there is an adjustment because you don't always get the attention that you did when you were a current player and stuff like that. But just being around most of the Dolphins fans and the Dolphin fan base is pretty positive, and I love just interacting with people. That's just my personality. So a lot of times that's why I do this bit. I just believe in, you treat people and how they treat you, and I just always believe in giving back. So that's basically sums it up right there.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Justin, you want to follow up, brother?
Yeah, man. First of all, we love having you on the show, Rich. I'm a big fan. I have been since I was a little kid. I know you was blocking the backside for Dan Marino, and that really goes in high regard for me. I know you were a two-time first-team All-Pro. I know you were a two-time second-team All-Pro. Like he said, Bobby said, 7-time Pro Bowler, the 90s All-Decade team. You had 184 career games and started 167 of them. I remember when you went to Cincinnati too, at the end of your career, and I was like, "Oh, they're getting my boy Rich, man. They're getting a real good one right there, But just glad to have you on. Thank you for doing this. We really love you here in Dolphin Land. Like I said, you're one of my favorite players of all time. We'll try to keep it short here, but here's my first question I have for you. What made Marino such a special quarterback, and would you consider Marino one of the purest passers ever to play the game?
Yeah, I think Marino is the standard. I think when scouts or whatever, if you kind of look back, that's as far as a pure passer. And I think when you look at it, he wasn't very mobile because of some lower extremity injuries, but one thing you can take away from him was, the way he could drop back, find the open receiver, go through his progressions or whatever. And he just had that arm. And I think that's when you look at a pure passer, that's the definition. It's a picture of Dan Marino up under that definition. But no doubt, he's a standard. I think that everybody still to this day judges. If you're looking for a pure passer, does he have some of those key qualities or traits that Dan exemplified throughout his career? So yeah, most definitely he's the standard.
Right. All those years you played with, this one is kind of like off the basis here. I ain't gonna throw you a curveball, but what do you think? What do you think it was that they couldn't kind of quite get over the hump there in Miami when they had like Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, all the players they had and pieces they had together? What do you think was the major issue that couldn't get them over the hump? Was it that ownership wouldn't buy into Danny completely, or was there something else completely that we all missed as fans?
Well, when I came in and I got there a little bit before Jason and Zach, I went through 2 transitions. So when I first got there, the offense was really good and the defense wasn't as good. They were decent, but they wasn't as good. And then after Shula resigned or retired or whatever, they brought in Jimmy Johnson, and I think he really focused in on the defense. You get your Sam Madisons, your Patrick Surtain, you get Jason Taylor, you get Darryl Gardner. We already had Tim Bowens. Then you get like Derrick Rogers, Zach Thomas, Brock Marion, and that defense was built to where I think it was more focused on that and the offense was kind of more controlled. Danny didn't have as much control to check out our plays and this and that. And I think that's because Coach Johnson wanted to commit to the running game and stuff like that. In a couple of years, we ran for 1,000 yards, but I kind of understood what he did because I think he knew when he was in Dallas that you had to play really good defense and have a running game in order to, make it over the hurdle and have a opportunity to get to the bowl. So I think it was just his philosophy, and it just didn't work out. But yeah, I was there when we had a really good explosive offense, and then it went to the thing. So it was just, sometimes it was injuries. It just depended on the year, but we got close a couple times, and then it just, it was unfortunate. But yeah,
right. Yeah, maybe he just he believed in that defensive philosophy and running the football and playing tough defense to get that ball back for your quarterback some extra times. But man, on hindsight, I wish he would have loaded up some of that offense for you guys too.
I mean, if we would have had that, we would have almost been unstoppable because that defense was special, pretty good. And I remember teams really struggled when they would come down to it's Hard Rock now. It used to be called like Joe Robbie, and then it went to
pro player. Yeah,
it was a tough place to come play, and it wasn't just because of the heat or the humidity. You had to line up against those 11 guys over there, and we had 2 shutdown corners, and it's allowed our defense. We had a very special group when I was there.
Oh yes, gosh.
So
nostalgia right now.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it brings me back just thinking about it. They had a great defense, and just our offense wasn't too far behind, but just wasn't up to the defense's standard, But here we'll go to the next one. What traits do you see in Tua that lead you to believe he can be the guy?
Well, I think he is the guy. I watched Tua throughout when he played in college, even in Alabama, and you look at the amount of players that are developed and actually become really successful in the NFL. So the coaching, the coming from Alabama and then just watching what he did, I think the thing where a lot of people got caught up in was, he hurt that hip his last year there, and then ended up getting drafted 5th. But I tell people, I said, if you really think about it, I believe if he doesn't get injured, he would have been the first quarterback taken in that draft. But certain things happened, and it was fortunate because we got him at 5. But I just think if you look at the way each year, the way he prepares, the way he's really worked to get his body, back in condition, this and that, and then he doesn't fold under pressure. I mean, you watch him and he's so accountable. That's what I love about him. He never tries to throw his teammates up under the bus. If something doesn't go wrong, he's the first one to admit, hey, it's my fault, this and that. And I think if we watched even last year, we had some serious offensive line issues, but never once did you hear him mention, if I'd have had some blocking, or he's just not that type of player. And I think that's why he's the captain this year. And I think that's why the guys on the team respect him so much. So I think we got our guys just, he had the concussion or whatever. I know he'll be out this week, but we got to safety and health first, but I think he'll be back, and then we're going to pick up right where we left off.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just talk about this team. I'm glad that Justin segued in that. Again, 7-time Pro Bowler, playing one of the toughest positions in football at tackle. I would love to get your opinion on the offensive line currently. Miami signed Terron Armstead. Greg Little's currently playing right tackle. Eichenberg at left guard. Williams, who plays guard, was a damn good guard, now playing center for Miami. You know offensive line better than any of us, obviously. What's your thoughts on Miami's offensive line right now?
Well, it's night and day if you look at what we were doing last year versus this year. And I think the addition of guys like Connor Williams and Terron Armstead, I wasn't for sure if Connor Williams was going to work out at center, but he's done a pretty good job there, especially when you play guard. But maybe he's had some experience there, but he's done a good job. Yep. And even with Austin Jackson getting hurt, to have a backup come in Little and play the way he's played, man, it's much improved. And I think my philosophy was you don't have to have the best offensive line, but you got to have a decent enough line to where you can execute your offense and stuff like that. And if you look at what we were dealing with last year compared to this year now, it's a huge, huge improvement, and it's making a difference.
And then talking about you talked about Tua, and obviously you played with the greatest of arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. You also played for one of the greatest, maybe the greatest coach of all time, in Don Shula. So it's early. It's only 4 games in, but the Dolphins have had an offseason. Fans have had an offseason to experience this coach. Now you got 4 games in. They're 3-1. What's your thoughts on Mike McDaniel?
I love his energy. I think you can definitely see it's a change even from the time he took the job. I think what really drew fans in was, it wasn't just lip service with him. I mean, like you said, I already talked about Ron Armstead, Connor Williams, but to go out and get a guy like Cheetah, surround Tua with the weapons. We already had Jalen Waddle, and you got that type of speed. And if you look at the way his offense is, it's really kind of an explosive offense. I mean, you mix the run. We hadn't got the run going like I know we can, but once that goes, but you've seen where he's hit Cheetah, he's hit Waddle for big plays. So this offense definitely has big playability, and I think that's exciting. Definitely good for the fan base when you want to go watch, because you want to entertain the fans. You want to win, but when you can see some big explosive plays, I think that just really draws people in. And so I like him so far. I mean, I think he's a player's coach, and just the way he kind of goes about it, I think the players have bought in. I think they respect him as well. He's young, but I guess when you get the trust of the players, and I think the fan base trusts him, when you start doing what you say you're going to do versus saying you're going to do one thing and then you turn around and do something totally different, people be like, well, man, I don't know about this guy or what's going on. And I haven't heard that, seen that, or got any type of that energy from him. So, and the players seem like they're happy. I can even remember, if you go back to the Baltimore game, the first half was kind of slow, horrendous for the offense, but he never wavered on the sideline. He kept his composure, and even the players, you just see anybody get frustrated when we come out the second half and we get going. And even Baltimore made a couple more plays, but we had to score 40-something points, but we come out with a big win. And it's just it's the character that this team has taken on. So I believe even sometimes when we look like we're out of games, I think the guys just mentally are tougher to believe that, hey, if we got enough time, we still got a chance to possibly get back in this game. If we get in it, we can win it.
So, you spoke so highly of Tua. Of course, he is out. He had that scary situation 2 weeks in a row, and then, of course, got knocked out of that Cincinnati game. We don't know how long he's going to be out right now. We know he's out tomorrow. Could be up to 3 weeks, with the eye of the storm on the NFL and, of course, on the Dolphins. With Teddy Bridgewater starting at quarterback, you got the Jets, Vikings, then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. How confident are you in Teddy Bridgewater being the starting quarterback for at least the next 3 games?
Yeah, I'm confident. I mean, even he didn't do too bad stepping in that Cincinnati game. We didn't win it, but I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is typically when you're the backup, you're getting the mental reps. The guys that actually play, they're going to majority of them during the week. So only the quarterback where you know what to do, but when you can't get the time with your receivers, you're not getting that many. You might, if it's 2014 reps, you might get 6. The starter's going to get 18. So when you come in, you get that 6, a couple of them might be runs. So you might not actually get that many opportunities to drop back and throw the football. So I think that's the thing. And I think since he started in this league, he'll have he had 10 days, but he'll have a full week of preparation, and I feel confident. I think he's going to do a good job. And I think that's another thing by Coach McDaniel. I think there are things that Eddie probably does well in certain areas that Tua doesn't, and vice versa. So I think he will cater this offense to the things that Teddy does well and give him an opportunity to maximize his potential. So I feel confident that we'll be fine. And we're not in a position where we got to rush to just get Tua back because we got a good quality backup.
100%. Love that.
Definitely.
Justin, you want to follow up, brother?
You were talking a little bit about the offensive line, and have you noticed it was a big difference, for like a night and day difference, which I noticed the same thing. Last year, under the coaching philosophy, did you notice how they were, and I don't know this for a fact, but it just looked to me like they were just kind of taught not to get beat one-on-one and just not to get beat. And then this year's philosophy, it's more like the offensive line is taking the attack to the opposition to dictate, that gameplay style to them. What do you see from that? Like, are they more of an attacking style of an offensive line now versus a passive aggressive as they were?
It's a different offensive scheme as a whole. I think if they were taught not to get beat last year, it wasn't taught very well because we were getting beat. So I don't know that philosophy. But what I do know is I think it definitely helped that we brought in some experienced veteran presence on this offensive line. I think at times we had good coaches last year, but I think a lot of them were really young and really inexperienced. I think we got a veteran offensive line coach. So when there are mistakes made, it's that when you come to the sideline, you can make adjustments and say, okay, the defense is doing this. We'll change the protection and maybe you always compensate. It's almost like you say, people say it's versus playing checkers than playing chess. You got to strategize. Say, okay, if my opponent is doing this, then I need to make adjustments and do that. So you can go into the game with a game plan and this and that, but sometimes you got to scrap a few plays and say, okay, they're taking that away from us, but if they're taking this away, they're going to give us that. And I think it's just the adjustments, and I think the addition of veteran presence to kind of settle the guys down if they're getting, if things are not going right, this and that, to calm the storm. And I think that's been the biggest difference this year versus last year.
Absolutely.
Love it. And I just want to tell everybody you're watching Digging in the Trenches on the Fids Talk Sports Network. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, thank you. Smash that like and subscribe button. We have Dolphins great, Richmond Webb on the show, which is awesome. But let's get into a little bit about the Jets game, Justin.
Sure.
We'll get Richmond's opinion as well. You got that set stacking in the bricks, man. Talking about key matchups. What do you got for tomorrow?
All right, let's stack up those bricks for this Dolphins and Jets game. And, obviously, if you've tuned in by now, you know what a brick is. That's a solid player, a veteran, or somebody with an arrow up in their career. Right now, I have the Dolphins stacked at 40 bricks and the Jets at 24. So far, we've 3-1 on the brick segment. If we have more bricks, usually we end up winning that. But let's jump into the key matchups right away. This is Digging in the Trenches. We believe that's where the games are won and lost, and I think that's got a lot to do with this game. So let's dig right into it, and let's start with McDermott versus Jalen Phillips. I'm going to go ahead and take Jalen Phillips on that side of the ball. I think he has the advantage right there. When you go into the next one, which would be – this is all on offensive line, obviously. Tomlinson versus Wilkins. I'll take Wilkins over Tomlinson as well. Then you get into the center position, McGovern versus Raekwon Davis. I'll take Davis on that side of the ball. McGovern has been playing better lately. He has come on. He's been blocking a lot better lately, blocking better in the run game. I don't think this matchup, the next one, will be the same way because of the way the Jets' offensive line is going to be shuffling around. I think that AVT, that Andrew Vera-Tucker, will be playing versus Melvin Ingram. And I think that's the key matchup right there, and I'll take Melvin Ingram. I don't know who they're going to have play that other guard position, but he would be versus Emmanuel Ogbah, and I'll take Ogbah there. So I like our defensive line, obviously, over their offensive line. That would be the first key set of matchups right there. What you think, Rich?
I looked at the game, and what I see is I see that our defense is actually getting an opportunity to get some rest, so I agree with that. Against Buffalo, and I believe Cincinnati played a lot of snaps, and the Buffalo game was extremely hot. But I think it's time for Jason Phillips and Agua to have big days. I mean, and they've been getting doubled and stuff like that, but you can't continue to contain those type of players. So I think this a lot of Dolphin fans call it the MetLife takeover or whatever. And I think exactly what we're gonna do. I think they're gonna
Absolutely.
throw it up. I was hoping we was gonna get Jones back at the corner, but he's not
Same.
ready.
Mhm.
And I don't know about X. I know he's nursing an injury, this and that. But some of the younger guys are stepping up. But we hadn't seen our first full-fledged top defense when we get Jones and X back on the corners. Can you imagine what teams got to deal with that second half of the season? So
It's gonna be awesome.
like I said, I love the brick deal. So long as we got more bricks,
Exactly.
I agree with you. It definitely starts up front, and the front four, like you said, Davis, Wilkins, those guys in the interior. I think we're gonna shut it down, and if we stop their running game, it's really gonna put a lot of pressure on Zach, the quarterback, and there might be some opportunities for us to big plays for our defense. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow and us having a really big day.
Same here.
Justin, let me ask you this, brother, because obviously we got the post game tomorrow. But let me get your keys to victory to secure a Miami Dolphins victory. What are your keys to victory for Miami? Three keys
for the Dolphins victory tomorrow is going to be to stop the run, just like Richmond was talking about. We need to stop the run. We need to run the football, obviously, and dominate on the line of scrimmage. That's going to be my 3 keys to winning the football game. Excuse me, but. Jump into the next part of the brick segment, man. Let's just go right to it. It's going to go to the other side of the ball, which is our offensive line versus their defensive line. Franklin Myers versus this is where it's going to get tricky for you guys. I'm going to throw you a loop right here. Franklin Myers versus Armstead. I'm going to take Armstead in that battle. That's one of the few I think I like out of this matchup. Then when you get into it more deep in there in the interior, you got Rankins versus Liam Eichenberg. I think Rankins is going to be the better player here. I'll put my arrow over there. This is a key matchup here for me. This is big. It's Quinn Williams versus Connor Williams inside. And I know he's going to have help from Liam. I know he'll have a little bit of help from, someone trying to help him out, but that's a key matchup. Got to go with Quinn Williams right there. So that's 2 to our 1. This is an interesting one here for me, which would have been Carl Larson versus Robert Hunt. I'm going to go ahead and give that one a push because I think they're both quality. I think Carl Lawson's a little bit long in the tooth. I think Hunt is really arrow up in his career right now. I think that's going to be a great matchup down low. This other one, the last one, is kind of weird because I don't think Jermaine Johnson, I don't think he's healthy to play the game. So I don't know who actually they're going to put out there to pass rush. But a guy I have a little bit of experience with in Bryce Huff, I think he's going to be a matchup versus Greg Little. And I think this is a key matchup for the Dolphins on the offensive line. How can Bryce Huff or whoever they have out there to pass rush versus Greg Little? Is Greg Little going to stand up and pass block stoutly to give Teddy Bridgewater some time to throw the football? So that would be 4 of them. They got 4-1 on their side. We got 4-1 on our side. So this is definitely going to be one of those games that's going to be won and lost in the trenches, man. I'm telling you right now.
That's a great point because and Richmond brought it up, the secondary is banged up. Xavier Howard, groin injury. We know Byron Jones is still out. So it's going to be up to if and Brett brought this up last night on overtime. This might be a good game for Howard to stay back, to sit because, you got a tougher matchup in Minnesota next week or against Minnesota. You got Pittsburgh. So, and then Kader Kohu, number 1 rookie undrafted free agent as a corner, top 10 in the league. Needham is doing well. So this might be good for them because you got to help that young secondary, the injured secondary, by a better pass rush. So I love the idea, and I think you're absolutely right. It could be won in the trenches. Richmond, Justin gave his 3 keys. Sir, if you have 3 keys, that'd be great. If not, it's okay. Do you have 3 keys to victory for Miami?
Yeah, I think it ties into what Dustin was saying earlier before I get into that. But he said it was important for us to run the ball, and it's even more important when you break down his analysis of the Jets defensive line getting 4 bricks to our 1. So if we can establish the running game, that takes a lot of pressure off of Teddy Bridgewater as the
Yep.
quarterback coming in here, because now he's not put in the position we can run more of a balance attack or whatever, where that's the last thing you want to do is have a defense shut down your running game and force you to where they know you just throwing the football and then they just pin their ears back and they can have a field day. It can get ugly. So
Right.
but mine is always like I said, if we can establish the run, control the tempo of the game, control the penalties and the mental errors, this and that, and go out and execute it offensively and defensively, I think that's the key. And if we do that, we should win 2 out of the 3 phases of the game. And if we do that, we should come out on top.
Love it. Love it. Justin, man, what's your prediction for tomorrow, man? Of course, nobody should sleep on the Jets. We talked about it on Fit Talk today. The Jets, even though what's their record, 1-3 right now, they're still playing decent football, and they're one of those that, people talk about Cincinnati being a trap game. That wasn't a trap game. This could be a trap game. What's your thoughts on New York, and what's your prediction for tomorrow?
You know what? They're playing better football, and I'll be honest with you. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's still the Jets. It's still the Jets." No,
2-2. Thank you, Dolphins.
No, it's not. Yeah, they're 2-2. I think it's a different Jets team. I think they're going to play 4 quarters. I think they're going to battle us. I was in on some spaces this week, and everybody was talking in there. They've heard me say this, and I'll say it one more time. This is a statement game for the Dolphins' offensive line. If you can go out there and establish your will on these guys, you're doing a good job. You're probably going to win the game. I think this is a statement game for the O-line. The Dolphins' O-line just needs to come up and play good. Play as one unit, play together, and they'll come out of this with a victory. It's going to be something like, I don't know, don't quote me, 26-21 or 26-17. Dolphins.
I got you. I'll tell you mine. And Richmond, if you could give a prediction, sir, that'd be great. I have it Miami winning 24-14. I have it a close game. It's going to be like in the trenches, I believe. I know we had some people's 48-0. They were going crazy, but I think it's going to be a tighter game. It's going to be a fight. Not to the sense of Buffalo versus Miami, but it will be a fight. Richmond, do you have a prediction for tomorrow?
I think I did. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was somewhere same in the area between you two guys. I think I had like Dolphins 24-13, Jets, something like that. But like you said, and like Justin said, this is the Jets. A lot of times you can throw the record out. This is a division game. Either team doesn't like each other. It's been that way for years. And so they're going to get up to play the Dolphins, and I'm sure we're going to be up. But it's normally a lot of times a tough game. It's rarely sometimes blowout. One team just horrendous, and I don't see that. But I see us winning this game. I just, like you said, maybe 10 points or something like that. I think it's going to be a little closer, like both of you say. I don't think it's going to be. I'll be happy if it's a blowout and we win.
We'll love it. We love it. I won't argue against it.
That's what's important. But yeah, I think I said something like 24-13 the other day or something. So I'm right in the same ballpark with you guys, but I got us winning as well.
Perfect. And let's see some of the guys here. Evan has it 28-17. Steve, and I appreciate everybody. I see you all. Cap for Life 28-17, 27-24. Tammy from Miami, who's my mother, 13-10.
Tammy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tammy.
Yes. And so we got them all there. Got Ralph watching. That's the stepdad. Huge fan of yours, Richmond. Ralph down in Miami.
Definitely.
But a lot of fans have Miami winning. But again, shouldn't sleep on the Jets. It's gonna be a tough game, I think, tomorrow.
Yep. Real quick, too, just if you guys don't know this, by the way, which I'm sure you guys do, but just if you didn't, you could catch Richmond weekly at the Finish Line. He does a podcast weekly.
Yes.
So you can catch him there weekly. Just if you didn't know that, go catch him down there. He's great, does a great show with Ball Game and Reason. He's on there always, and he's always got great football insight. And go check him out there. Love it.
And everybody here, I think we're all in agreement. Future Hall of Famer. Is that about right?
Absolutely.
From our lips to God's ears.
It's going, man.
Hey, you know what, Richmond? I want to thank you for taking the time to do this. You know, you're very gracious with your time, and I appreciate it. Just obviously, let Justin finish up, but I mean, this is I'm humbled, honored to have you on. It's great speaking with you, and everybody watching. Again, whether you're watching on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, thank you. Smash that like and subscribe button. Justin, you want to got any final words?
Thank you so much, Rich, for doing this. We love you. You're Dolphins royalty in all of our eyes. Keep doing all the good stuff that you're doing, and we're going to be pulling for you hard to get that call, man. I'm rooting for you. Everybody's rooting for you. You believe in yourself to get yourself to that point. You're going to make it, my man. You're going to be in the hall, and it's well deserving. So that's all I got. Fins up. Let's go. Thank you much, brother. Thank you.
Hey. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, but thanks for having me on the show, and I appreciate all the love and this and that. And let's go beat the hell out of Jess tomorrow.
You're damn right.
Damn right.
Well, everyone. Thank you, Richmond. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button. Like, subscribe, and as always, most importantly, fins up. We'll see you guys next time.